Hi, today I continue reading from some of my favorite books, excerpts that if you've read my writing, you may have read some of these as they have been appearing in my writing for a long time. Today's reading is from Linda Hogan's book, Dwellings, A Spiritual History of the Living World, that came out in 1996. It's a collection of essays. And I'm going to be reading from an essay called A Different Yield, in which she talks, as she writes, about corn. When I first heard of Barbara McClintock, it confirmed what I thought to be true about the language of corn. McClintock is a biologist who received a Nobel Prize for her work on gene transposition in corn plants. Her method was to listen to what corn had to say, to translate what the plants spoke into a human tongue. In A Feeling for the Organism, Evelyn Fox Keller writes that McClintock came to know each plant intimately. She watched the daily green journeys of their growth from earth towards sky and sun. She knew her plants in the way a healer would know them, from inside, from the inner voices of corn and woman. Her approach to her science was alive, intuitive, and humane. It was a whole approach, one that bridged the worlds of woman and plant and crossed over the boundary lines between species. Her respect for life allowed for a vision expanded enough and sharp enough to see more deeply into the mysteries of matter than did other geneticists who were at work on the same problems. Her revelation of method astonished the scientific community. She saw an alive world, a fire of life inside plants. Over and over again, Keller says of McClintock, she tells us that one must have the time to look, the patience to hear what the material has to say to you. One must have a feeling for the organism. In most southwestern Indian cultures, the pollen of corn is sacred. It is the life-giving seed of creation and fertility. Anthropologist Ruth Underhill wrote that Papago planters of corn would speak to the life-sustaining plants. Night after night, she says, the planter walks around his field, singing up the corn. The corn comes up. It comes up green. Here upon our fields, white tassels unfold. Blue evening falls. Blue evening falls. Nearby, in every direction, it sets the corn tassels trembling. I know that corn. I know that blue evening. Those words open a door to a house we have always lived in. Once I ground corn with a smooth, round stone on an ancient and sloping metate. Leaning over, kneeling on the ground, grinding the blue corn, seeing how the broken, dry kernels turned soft to fine meal, I saw a history in that yield. A deep knowing of where our lives come from, all the way back to the starch and sugar of corn. Imagine a woman, a scientist, listening to those rustling stalks, knowing their growth so intimately that she could write the autobiography of every plant she worked with. What a harvest! What a different yield! It is the pull of earth and life. The fields are beautiful. Cornmeal and pollen are offered to the sun at dawn. The ears of the corn are listening and waiting. They want peace. The stalks of the corn want clean water, sun that is in its full, clean shining. The leaves of the corn want good earth. The earth wants peace. The birds who eat the corn do not want poison. Nothing wants to suffer. The wind does not want to carry the stories of death. At night in the cornfields, when there is no more mask of daylight, you hear the plants talking among themselves. The wind passes through. It's all there, the languages, the voices of wind, dove, corn, stones. The language of life won't be silenced. In Chaco Canyon, in the center, my sister Donna told me there is a kiva, a ceremonial room in the earth. This place has been uninhabited for what seems like forever. It has been without water so long that there are theories that the ancient people disappeared as they journeyed after water. Donna said that there was a corn plant growing out of the center of the kiva. It was alone, a single plant. It had been there since the ancient ones, the old ones who came before us all, those people who wove dog hair into belts, who witnessed the painting of flute players on the seeping canyon walls, who knew the stories of corn. There was one corn plant growing out of the holy place. It planted itself yearly. It was its own mother, with no water, no person to care for it, no turning over of the soil. This corn plant rises up. Earth yields. We probably knew that would be true. Do you remember the friend that the leaves talked to? We need to be that friend. Listen, the ears of the corn are singing. They are telling their stories and singing their songs. We knew that would be true.